You are listening to TheQFM. Manifest your reality.
When a person gets truly focused, and athletes and performers like you understand this, you spend a certain amount of time when you close your eyes, you start mentally rehearsing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Every move, everything. And when you're truly present and truly focused, your brain does not know the difference between the actual experience in your life and what you're imagining inside of you. It's called mental rehearsal. An example, they took a group of people that never played the piano before. They divided them into two different categories. In one category, they said, we're going to teach you one-handed scales and chords. You come for 2 hours a day. You practice for 5 days. We'll scan your brain at the beginning. We'll scan your brain at the end. And we'll see if you're making any changes in your brain. So these people show up. They practice the scales and chords for 2 hours. At the end of 5 days, they have a whole new set of circuits on the opposite side of the brain. Nothing new there. You learn something new, you make connections, you get some instruction, get your body involved. You get your body involved, you enrich the experiences in your brain. You
So
repeat
learning
it.
to play the guitar is a good thing for me.
It's a great thing for your brain. You repeat it, you pay attention, new circuits in your brain. Take another group of people, and instead of them actually physically playing the scales and chords, have them close their eyes and play the scales and chords and mentally rehearse them. At the end of 5 days, they had the same amount of brain changes, same number of circuits in their brain, as if they were physically playing the piano. So now their brain looked like the experience has already happened. So you're priming your brain from the past. It's no longer a record of the past. Now it's a map to the future, and your body will begin to instruct your mind. Take a group of men, have them close their eyes and rehearse doing bicep curls for an hour a day. An hour a day, Cleveland Clinic, an hour a day for 2 weeks. Stronger, harder, more intense. At the end of 2 weeks, 13.5% increase in muscle strength. Never lifted a weight. Now the body looks like it's been in the experience. Now listen.
Oh, so your muscles can't grow.
Well, they're stronger.
Okay.
Stronger, 13% stronger in 2 weeks, just by adding an emotional component.
Wow.
So now the body doesn't know the difference between the actual experience and what the person is imaging. Now, that's exactly how we begin to take a person from one state of being to another state of being. In fact, the more you mentally rehearse, the more you're changing your brain into the future. Your brain's remembering the future. And the stronger the emotion you feel when you do it, the more altered you feel inside of you, the more you pay attention to what you're imaging. And now you begin to remember your future. You're creating a long-term memory. Just like when you have a strong emotional event from your past, the stronger the emotion you feel, the more altered you feel inside of you, the more you narrow your focus on the cause. The brain takes a snapshot, and that's called a memory. And people think neurologically within the circuits of that past experience, and they feel chemically within the boundary of their emotions. And now that's their state of being. So do the same thing now, but instead of having being an outer event, use your brain and use your body, or use your coherent heart, coherent brain, and begin to combine a clear intention with an elevated emotion. And when you do that properly, the stronger the emotion you feel, the more you pay attention to the pictures, and now you're priming your brain and body into a future. You're changing your state of being. And now you keep doing that every day. You downregulate genes for disease, you upregulate genes for health. The person goes from being unhappy, impatient, frustrated, to being happy for no reason at all. Like they're no longer relying on anything out there.
It's your new pattern. It's your new routine.
State of being.
It's your new state of being. It's your new personal reality.
You keep doing it, and then all of a sudden, there's the side effects, the synchronicities, the coincidences, serendipities, the opportunities.
Thoughts become things.
Then you begin to create synchronicities because now you're
I'd love for you to talk about that. How can we, I think this is a good way to kind of wrap it up. How can you recognize when you are having these changes happen and what your regular regular world may look like. I mean, this could be anything from like, you know, you change your job to, you know, people disappear in your life to new ones reappear. You're at the grocery store in line and you meet the person you need to meet because you need somebody to help you with something. Like, what does it look like when you really start to synchronize your heart, your energy, your emotional state with your intentions, your heart coherence, like
brain coherence?
Tell me what my world looks like to make me go, Danica, you're on the right path.
Yeah, so when I know, I mean, I've been doing this long enough to tell you that nobody changes until they change their energy.
Right.
You change your energy, you change your life. It's the way it is. So when you stop using your enemy to reaffirm your addiction to hatred, when you stop using your best friend to reaffirm your addiction to suffering, when you stop using your Facebook to reaffirm your addiction to insecurity, when you stop that whole process and you start going inward and you're no longer relying on those outer things to create those emotions, and you start creating those inner emotional states, you start changing your energy. Now, whatever is no longer a vibrational match between you and that past, present reality is going to fall away.
Right.
They're just going to spiral out because you're no longer putting your attention on them. In other words, the stronger the emotion you feel with some problem in your life, the more you give it your attention. Where you place your attention is where you place your energy. You're giving your power away, your life force, your energy to heal to that person or that problem. Lower the volumes of that emotion, you take your attention off that person, you're calling energy back to you. And you're building your own electromagnetic field. We've seen the evidence of that in many events, because when people start overcoming themselves, the first day, not always, but the energy of the room will drop. Why? Because they're drawing from the field to build their own field. Now when they build their own field the next day and the fields start interfering with the people next to them, whoop, the energy in the room just keeps going up, right? So now, there's no longer a vibrational match between you and your coworker, you and your job, you and your boss. Be prepared. Because that old known thing is going to fall away because you're no longer emotionally and energetically connected to it.
Right.
So then when you get in that state, it's not a time to try to put it back together. Because at the same time these things are unraveling and they're moving towards chaos, and chaos is just unpredictable order.
Right.
It's novelty, the newness of an experience that you can't predict is chaos. If you apply the formula, and all potentials in the quantum field exist as electromagnetic potentials. They are possibilities. So now you're going to combine a clear intention with an elevated emotion, the thought being the electrical charge, the feeling being the magnetic charge. You begin to open your heart. It begins to produce that broad field. You lay the thought of a new future into there. Now you're changing your energy. When they begin to synchronize coherently, your brain and heart, you got a strong Wi-Fi signal. Because now you're putting out a very laser coherent signal. When there's a synchronization between your energy and that potential that exists in the future, but it really exists in the present moment because that's where they exist in the quantum. Now you start to see synchronicities in your life because you're synchronized to a future, and they come as opportunities. Wow, that was kind of cool. And those are breadcrumbs from the field, like keep going, you're on to something.